Alrighty, and welcome to Greek Speak on WSYC 88.7 FM from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania and Shippensburg University. The current temperature is 51 degrees, with the high today being 53 and the low of today being 43. It's a little bit of a cloudy temperature, cloudy weather outside right now. Definitely looking for the warmer weather to come next week. As Chris over there said, it is the third time the charm. My name is Andrew Mercier. I am one of the co-hosts here for Greek Speak. Today is a very special episode as I have three guests from the Kappa Sigma fraternity. I am actually the only co-host left for today, as Luke Rainey is at a PRSSA client meeting, and Luke Hilligus is currently down in Charlottesville, Virginia, at the Kappa Sigma National Headquarters for an interview. So we wish him best of luck. But I want to turn things over to our the first name that I mentioned being Chris Hollander. So, Chris, if you want to just kind of give a brief explanation on yourself and just kind of give the audience a brief understanding of you.
I'm a junior here, studying marketing. I really love the program. Honestly, they're one of my favorite types of classes to have. But inside the Kappa Sigma fraternity, I am head brotherhood. I just plan events and just get all the brothers together.
Awesome. Just for a fun fact, two of those positions directly reside under me, and my title is the Vice President of Membership Development, otherwise known as the Grand Master of Ceremonies. There has been some jokes that I've been the Grand Master of Ceremonies since 2020, and I'm here to debunk them. It's been 2024 to 2026. Some would still say way too long. But Chris, thank you for coming on the show. We'll swing things back over to you at some point, but over to our next guest, Mr. Gavin Widmer. If you want to just kind of give a brief introduction of yourself, then we'll kind of go from there.
Hello, I'm Gavin Widmer. I'm a new member for Kappa Sigma. I'm a freshman, elementary ed, special ed major. Haven't started any of those classes yet, but I'm excited to start that, and I play on the ice hockey team here, and yeah.
Awesome. As I said, hockey is one of our premier sports within the organization. I know that we've kind of talked about it a bit in the past. Also, football has been something that we've really started to dig our teeth into. But I do want to swing over to our last guest, being Mr. Joshua Tolchin. So, Josh, what's going on, man?
Hi, my name is Josh Tolchin. I'm from Quakertown, Pennsylvania, about 30 minutes outside of Philly. I'm a secondary ed with a history-focused major. I'm a second semester freshman. I'm also on the hockey team. I have a vice president role there, alongside with Mason, who is our amazing president. And it's been great so far.
Awesome. So obviously holding a position like that, deems a lot of responsibility. I actually did not know that you held that position until about 30 minutes ago. So when did you start your official term? Obviously, your hockey season came to a premature end last week, and still, you have nothing to be ashamed of. You guys, are part of, a great program that's going to continue to build and, probably win several championships in the near future. But when did you guys do your transition in terms of executive board?
I mean, we kind of just figured it out after the game on Saturday, which was a little unfortunate. It was a somber mood in the locker room. But, we just had to put our head down and get to work. I got chosen directly by Mason to be the vice president. Colton Hunsinger, who's also a new member, is our treasurer. Jackson Weckerly is our secretary. And Gavin's actually also our historian as well. With a little bit in the role, I kind of just do everything. If Mason can't attend a meeting, I'll be there. I just check into the budget, see what's going on there, see what WEC's doing, filling out work, the game sheets and stuff like that. So, it's a little bit of everything, but it's a lot of fun. Make some good connections with a lot of guys. It's a really good time.
Yeah, so Mason's also a member of the Kappa Sigma fraternity. He was a new member last spring, so the spring of 2025. So he is actually coming up on his 1-year anniversary within the organization. So huge congratulations to Mason. So obviously, you talked about your role within the organization. You talked about being a second semester freshman. What exactly brought you to Shippensburg? It could be hockey, it could be a bunch of things. So Yeah, we'll start with you, Josh. What exactly brought you to Shippensburg?
I mean, I never really thought about it. I kind of looked at it my junior year. I got an email from there. I had no idea where Shippensburg University was. So I obviously toured the campus. I found out that I actually liked it a lot because I've been looking at like a lot of big schools like Penn State, obviously the big Pennsylvania schools like that, like Westchester. I didn't really like it that much. I like the more small campus type of vibe. So I kind of rolled with that. And then eventually Brody Bellick and Jordan Peters reached out to me. And I found out they had a hockey team, and that was kind of the selling point with me. And ever since, yeah, Ship all the way.
Awesome. Gavin, what about you, man?
So I'm big on my education. So when I saw that this was one of 4 schools in the nation with an elementary school on campus, that really sold it for me. I mean, getting to just walk across campus to student teach in the future and do stuff like that, that is a big benefit, and I feel like that made that decision pretty easy for me. And then on Admit Students Day, when I came and I saw that there was a hockey team, it really just, it felt perfect, yeah.
Awesome. It was kind of a match made in heaven, some would say. And lastly, Chris, what was your reasoning?
As some of you may know, I went to a really small high school, so college I always knew I was going on the smaller side. I applied to state schools here and there, here, Bloomsburg, Westchester, some of those. But ultimately I came to the decision on Shippensburg simply because their business program is just miles ahead of the other ones I applied to. I really wanted to come here to further my education so I could set myself up for success right after.
Wonderful. We are going to take a brief break as we are a little bit behind due to some technical difficulties. But again, you guys are listening to Greek Speak on WSYC 88.7 FM from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania and Shippensburg University. I always love listening to that liner as it's voiced by the iconic Luke Rainey. Really missing him today. Feels really weird sitting in his seat. Part of the technical difficulties was me actually not being aware of the news tab here on the board in the control room. So that was a minor mistake on me, and now I know. But maybe there's always a reason why I'm in the other studio. But obviously this is an episode that we've really looked forward to. I hit on it a little bit before about how this is an episode that we've never done before. Having 2 new members, people that are going through their new member process as we speak, rather than people that have, already joined the organization. But I do want to start with Chris, kind of just talking to him a little bit as he's been around a little bit longer. So, fun fact, Chris was actually a guest on Greek Speak on October 31st, 2025. Reasoning why I know the date is the studio at WSYC was doing its Too Spooky special, and we couldn't really come up with a way to make our show Halloween themed, so we decided to take it over to the Roland studio. And let's just say the file to that episode kind of got lost for about 6 months, but I rediscovered it the other day, and there was actually some good things on there. So, Chris, what exactly got you interested in Kappa Sigma? Obviously, you mentioned that you're a junior, and then you hit on your reasoning on why you came to Ship, but kind of going into the next step of, why was it Kappa Sigma that you ultimately decided to join?
Well, it was actually you who piqued my interest about this fraternity. I didn't really come into college knowing much about Greek life or really knowing if I wanted to be a part of it. But you persuaded me, and that really got my interest piqued. And then I got to meet the brothers. It was a really genuine connection. I felt like an instant spark between them, and the rest is history. Like, I'm best friends with so many of them, and we've made so many countless memories together.
Yeah, and there's countless memories to go. Obviously, I know that you're friends with a lot of the senior class. Myself, Luke Hilligus, Brody, Jordan. We're still going to be around. Obviously, May 9th is rapidly approaching, but we still want to be in the area. Always be a short text or phone call away. But yeah, Chris, you definitely, and I'll be open and honest about this. The relationship that I've formed with you, especially over the last couple of months, has been something that I will cherish for the rest of my life. We were kind of both going both going through some weird periods. I was really bored over the winter, and we really just bonded and went on a couple trips together. We went over to Dairy Queen. We actually went to the Dairy Queen and Chip on the grand opening. We were there. Literally, the newspaper was there, so that was always a fun thing. But Chris, just all I can say is how proud I am of you and the man that you've become. And that's something that we always look for within the organization and through the new member process is the development of people. And that goes into my position of vice president of membership development. That is my job, and I think you're a prime case of someone that is rapidly changed and grown as an individual. And again, I couldn't be more proud. But Gavin, if you want to talk about your Kappa Sigma experience, when did the idea of joining a fraternity really spike your interest?
When I came, I wasn't really interested in Greek life that much, but a lot of kids on the hockey team were a part of Kappa Sigma, so I would hang out with them a lot, and whenever I would come to the house and meet some of the brothers, the connection was so genuine. It felt like they actually cared about me regardless of who I was or any of those aspects, and it felt like I was really accepted there, and that just made it such an easy choice for me.
Awesome. And obviously, you talked about the hockey connection. That's something that really started with Brody and Jordan and Mike Castle, but especially Brody and Jordan, who were the original, refounding president and vice president when the team eventually started. And then Brody eventually transitioned into the treasurer position where he did a wonderful job over the last couple years. And, it's definitely going to be some tough shoes to fill. But, Josh, what about you, man?
Kind of like Gavin, I never really thought about Greek life before this. I've always just been kind of go with the flow guy, and I never really thought that I'd hang out with that crowd too much. But obviously, like Gavin said, there's a bunch of people on the hockey team that are in Kappa, and I kind of just hung out with them. The second night I was here, I went over to the house, met some of the guys, found out that they were really cool people, and the stereotypes about them really aren't true. It's just been pretty awesome ever since, just going to the house, meeting new people, making new connections with so many amazing people through there. And it's been such a great time.
Yeah, so obviously we've talked about how, you guys are going through your process as we speak. What would you say are some life lessons that you have taken so far from your process that, you can really translate into, your professional life? Gavin, if you want to answer that one.
I can start. I feel through the process I've felt like I can depend on people a lot more, and that's been something that has been not really a struggle, but something that I've not had in the past. So being able to depend on people and know that people are always going to back you up and be there for you, that's just such a great thing to know exists, and I can take that when I leave college, and I know that there's always going to be a group of guys that will always be there for me.
Josh, what about you, man?
Obviously, just before this, just the problem-solving aspect of it, just talking and communicating with people, which is something I haven't always been great at. Just finding out roots of problems, and that'll obviously help me in my future career teaching, because there's going to be a whole bunch of problems, and I know that, and I'm super excited to take them head on. So that'll be a really good time, and obviously just having a bunch of people that can back me up, which is something you can't find everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely one of the things that I've taken from the organization. I joined back in the spring of 2023, and I was one of 16 in terms of my new member class, and I've seen a lot of people come and go throughout the time, and just the relationships that I've been able to establish with all these individuals it's remarkable. And it's okay to understand that there's cliques within organizations, and that's definitely so, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. You guys talked about you have hockey guys within the organization that you can really relate on, and obviously push each other to be the best each and every day. But definitely the relationships that I've established with the organization has been probably the best thing for me. But Chris, what about you, man?
It's kind of just what they've been saying. You always have that group of people you can rely on. You're in a tough spot, you give them a call, as Don likes to say, 2 calls, 15 minutes, they'll be right there. And it's just so amazing to have that, like, I guess, assurance in my life that no matter where I am, what I'm doing, I'll always have people there right behind my back.
Awesome. So obviously earlier in the beginning of the show, when we kind of gave our introductions of ourselves, when you guys gave your introductions, you spoke about your, year in school and then, the education that you were pursuing. Obviously, as many know, you can do many things in college, but the number one priority is to come here and get a college degree and then move on into your professional career. But I just kind of want to ask you guys individually. So starting with Chris, obviously you mentioned that you're a marketing major and you really enjoy a lot of your classes. What would you say is your goal within the next 5 years, or let's say 5 years post college graduation?
Well, currently for this summer, I have a internship with Allen Distribution. It's a supply chain company. They got a place in Carlisle, a place in Mechanicsburg. They're worldwide too. But I have that, and then if I want it, they offer me a job right after college. So I guess I see myself there. And funny thing is, it's not even marketing, but just being here with the business program helped me get it, and it just sets me up.
Gavin, what about you, man?
I probably see myself teaching a second grade classroom out in Bucks County near Philly, because that's where I grew up, and I just want to kind of be able to give back to the community over there and be able to, just pursue my career where I grew up, and that's a goal of mine.
So we've actually had a lot of people come on the show that have been education majors. A lot of sorority individuals that we've had on have been education, and that's something that some would say is that it's a predominant woman career, and I think it's really cool to see 2 members right here that are going for that degree. Michael Luzzi is another prime example of someone that is currently pursuing an education degree. He came on our show, I think, 2 years ago at this point, maybe a year and a half ago, and was a remarkable guest, definitely an episode that's worth listening to. But is there anything else that sparked your interest in education? Do you have a family that's works in that program as well, or was it kind of just something that you came up with?
So my mom, she teaches at preschool, and she just started that recently, actually. But when I grew up, I was probably not the most behaved kid in elementary school, but all it took was one teacher to believe in me. That really changed my whole outlook on all of that, and just having that teacher believe in me, and not say that I was like a bad kid, but just say that, like, to be able to give me the help that I needed and push me to be the best version of myself really inspired me, and I really hope that one day I can be that person to somebody else.
That's incredible, Gavin. That's truly inspiring. Josh, what about you?
I've always been like an average student, just like B's, some A's, and I honestly was fine with just coasting with that until I had a history teacher, my AP US history teacher, my junior year. He pushed me to be something better than what I am. And he did that each and every day, and he honestly was a role model for me. My senior year, I job shadowed him, and it was something that I really fell in love with. So that's where the spark started for my teaching goal. And I really do owe it all to him, and just obviously give back to the people that have helped me and put it to the next generation.
Awesome. So obviously, we've talked about hockey, that being a contributing factor on why you guys came to the university, or really expanded your social atmosphere here at the university. So Josh, what position do you play? How long have you been playing, and how'd this season go for you?
I play defense. I started skating when I was 10, 11 years old, and I started playing like club teams when I was 12. That obviously transitioned into middle school and high school, and I just played ever since then. This year was fantastic, just the growth over the last 2 years. When Brody and Jordan were just starting out, it was a little bit of a struggle from what I could tell looking behind the scenes. It was a bit of a struggle, and we finally made playoffs this year. We were a team to be reckoned with in most games, and it was competitive every single time. It was great.
Awesome. Gavin, what about you? I mean, I've been I've been told, and I know that there's this narrative that I don't go to hockey games, and maybe that's so. Maybe that's true. I mean, I went to one game, and I remember going into that, I guess, rink/arena, and I caught a smell that I never really ever wanted to smell again, and I was just like, well, this kind of isn't my thing. But and then obviously this past season, you guys had a lot of games, a good distance away, and when you were home, I got involved in student media in terms of live sports. So I had a lot of live sports games that I had to cover. So I do deeply apologize. I was a huge supporter of you guys from the background. Some would call me a background character in that sense, but Gavin, what position did you play, or do you play now, and what's your story in terms of hockey?
So yeah, I played left wing. I've probably been playing since I was 3 years old. I've been playing club since 6, I think, and I played middle school, high school, and yeah, I mean it was a great year this year. I performed pretty well, and just our team overall performed really well, so that was really fun, and to be able to be a part of something like that where 2 years ago they were struggling to put up a goal, and now beating teams like 12-0. I mean, it's just a great feeling.
Alrighty, Chris, I know that you're not a member of the hockey team. You were making jokes that you're gonna join the team next year. I would love to see that. Put him in goal. I was told that you guys need a new goalie. So Chris, he'll be there for your open skates or whatever you want to call them. But we are going to take a brief break, and then we'll transition into a different section of the show when we return. So again, you were listening to Greek Speak on WSYC 88.7 FM from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania in Shippensburg University. And we are back. Again, you were listening to Greek Speak on WSYC 88.7 FM from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania in Shippensburg University. Today, we are joined by our special guests, Chris Hollander, Gavin Widmer, and Joshua Tolchin. And as always, I am one of your co-hosts, Andrew Mercier. I think we've had some great conversations so far today. Obviously, we had some technical difficulties, which kind of threw our time off a little bit. But, I'm really glad that we were able to get the show up and running. Again, shout out to the wonderful Luke Rainey, who was able to guide us from the distance in our group chat with the unique name of Greek Speak Crew. What a name. Iconic name, I must say. But Chris, so obviously, you've talked about your positions within the organization, stuff like that, your major. What would you like to, what would you say is the best thing that you've gotten from Kappa Sigma, in terms of your positions that you've been able to hold so far?
Definitely just like being more sociable. As head of a committee, especially head brotherhood, I would say it's a pretty important chair to have. Like, if you don't put time and effort into it, the brotherhood just sees that, but it gets down to the dumps. But I think I've really taken a big step this semester, putting more time and effort into it, and really just, it helps me become more sociable because I have to tell people, like, let them know, get people to be there, and it just makes me interact with people that all the time.
I mean, the one thing that I've learned, it was a prime example today, is, some people always would say that group chats are very effective because, a lot of people are in there. So you can just send one general message. But, I've learned that that's not always the most effective way, and it's actually more personable, and people tend to care more when you text them individually. So that's something I've definitely learned from that. But Gavin, Josh, is there any positions that you have any interest in? Obviously, you're going through your process, with a hopeful goal of becoming a brother at the end of the day. But you guys are the future of the organization. A lot of you guys are. I'm on my way out. Some would say that I need to go now. But Josh, what would you say are some positions that you may have some interest in taking upon if you were to become a brother of the organization?
I'd probably say rush chair because I've always been more of a sociable guy. I can reach out to people more easily than others. So I think it's really cool just creating a connection with so many people. I've seen it obviously work on me and Gavin. So I think that would be pretty awesome to do. Obviously, VP is going to take up a lot of time, but it's still something that I want to be a part of and just help out with.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan, for an example, I mean, obviously Rush is very, very important, but Jordan was the president of the club ice hockey team while also being the house manager, which is actually a lot of responsibility. That holds a lot of responsibility, I should say. Their job is to really maintain the house, make sure that the house has all the supplies that it needs, whether it's toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies. Also, he has to talk with our alumnus advisor, Don Edmondson, who is a wonderful person, and I'm sure that he'll probably end up listening to this. So this is a little hello to Don. But Jordan has done wonderful things. Brody, served as one of our ritual chairmen within our organization, and when he was actually doing the job, he did a great job. Maybe in terms of showing up in a timely manner, that's maybe where he lacked a little bit. But overall, those are two of my best friends, and I will cherish our relationship forever. But Gavin, what about you?
I would probably be most interested in new member education because I feel like going into education in the future, being able to being able to learn how to teach people is just such a useful skill, and being able to do it as much as possible can really help me in the future. And just to be able to teach people about the history of Kappa Sigma in that sense, and that, I think that would just be awesome.
Lastly, Big C. I think I made him laugh a little bit there.
Well, I currently serve as a new member educator, and I can attest, Gavin, it makes you need to learn how to teach people. Sometimes you got a rowdy bunch, and sometimes you got a calm bunch. But being on that crew really just releases my inner teacher, even though I really have no interest in being one. It's just kind of cool to kind of see how that is, and just how other people see it.
Yeah, Chris, you've done a wonderful job as part of the team. Michael Luzzi is actually a prime example of someone who is an education major and then is also part of the new member education team. And, he is someone that will always say that he does really do a great job at translating. But before we transition into the last period of the show and take one last break, is there anything else that you guys would like to, talk about? So, anything else? Chris, Gavin, Josh?
I guess, what initially piqued your interest about holding the position that you have right now? And you've had it for 2 years, so you must really like it. What really pushed you to want that so bad?
So that's actually a great question, and a lot of people ask that, as it's not very common for someone to retain a position for multiple years. I mean, obviously, our previous exec board did include Luke Illigas, Alex Staub, and myself. All three of us did remain as part of the current exec board, but I was the only one that remained in my position. So it does get, it goes back to, as soon as I joined, I just really enjoyed meeting the guys, going through my new member process, and, being able to read the description of the vice president membership development. And I also became very close with my, the guy that came before me, being Trenton Klauser. He was wonderful. A lot of people always have high praise for him. So Trenton taught me everything I know, as well as Brandon Akers. Akers is a great guy as well. Akers, for some reason, had this magical. He was just a magician in terms of recruitment. So a lot of credit goes to him, but it was mainly just wanting to help people and better the organization. When I joined, there was 20 members, and now we're sitting at 60, counting our new member class. So, I've seen a lot of growth, and just wanting to help the organization, thinking of it as a plain Canva and, painting my vision. And, I give a lot of credit to every person I've served with, Jonathan Hinderleiter, Justin Reese, Michael Burrows, Alex Staub, Luke Hilligus, people that I've served on executive board with, Drew Williams and Owen Frederick. Those are guys that, I have in my contacts, and I know I can call them anytime. And, I give, I owe them a lot of debt because, they've put up with me for a long time, and, they've taught me a lot. So, yeah, just kind of wanting to paint my own vision and thinking of it as a plain Canva. But, yeah, we're going to take a brief break, and then we'll come back for Josh and Gavin to ask questions. So, again, you were listening to Greek Speak on WSYC 88.7 FM from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, and Shippensburg University. Alrighty, and we're back for the last portion of our show. Again, you are listening to Greek Speak on WSYC 88.7 FM from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, and Shippensburg University. So before we went on our break, Chris asked a wonderful question, and I hope I answered it to the best of my ability. But Gavin, what you got?
So I was wondering, when you first came to Shippensburg University, what kind of got you into Greek life and deciding on Kappa Sigma as your fraternity choice?
So first of all, thank you for that great question. I really wanted to, have a similar environment that I had in high school. When I was in high school, I had a good amount of friends that I would always hang out with. Some people know that I hate being alone at all times. A fun fact, I will never, ever go into a restaurant and eat by myself. It's just something I don't do. I can even take it out to I'll eat it in the car, maybe. But, I will never sit down and eat by myself. That's just something I don't do. But I always had a bunch of friends that I would always get together with. It was probably every Friday and Saturday we would always get together and hang out and play cards and wreak some havoc. But, it was just always a lot of fun. And, I really wanted that in college. The only person I knew coming to college was Michael Burrows. It's someone that's been there for me almost my entire life, and again, I owe a whole lot of debt to him and cherish everything that we've experienced together. But Kappa Sigma actually came up to me. It was at the activities fair. It actually used to be outside in front of Reisner, according to Alex Staub. But as we were saying, or as I was saying, they were playing football, and I just asked if I could play, and they were like, yeah. And then we got to talking, and I remember they invited me over to the house, and I remember I went over and hung out with Dan Singleton, who was one of our former vice presidents. I remember we watched preseason Ravens football. I think it might have been Ravens Seahawks or Ravens Panthers. I hate the preseason, but it was just I thought it was so cool that I was just hanging out with the guys, and they really just wanted to get to know me. They didn't view me as a number; they viewed me as an individual, and that was something I really appreciated. And then ultimately, when it came time to rush, my decision was made for me. I was just super excited to hit the ground running, and I really saw an opportunity to take my vision and let it grow. And Kappa Sigma really provided that opportunity for me. So yeah, and I will always cherish. Man, I've said cherish too many times, but. It's been a great experience, and I really am I am sad that it's coming to an end, but, it's been a great run, and, I'm really happy with what we were able to accomplish. But I hope I answered that to the best of my ability. But, Josh, what do you got, man?
Obviously, you've been serving as GMC since 1885. I didn't know that the Ravens were created in 1885, but you learn something new every day. If you could hold any other chair in EC or just any other chair around, what would you do?
Ooh, that's a great question. I know Luke Hilligus would be telling me that he'd be waiting for me to say president, and maybe a year ago, maybe I would say yes to that, but no, definitely not president. I don't know. That's a great question. I've never really thought about it that way. Definitely not treasurer. You can't trust me with the money. I'd be buying too many McDonald's burgers or something like that. But I don't know, Scribe. Drew Williams has done a wonderful job at that, but maybe vice president, definitely trying to be a little bit more strict. But, I don't think I could do a better job than Alex. So the GMC is really the only position I could see myself, and, I'm glad that I've held the position for as long as I have. If I were to go back to be a chairman, I'd probably be maybe recruitment, PR. So maybe 2 of my old chairs that I used to hold. Social. Let me just go back to the good old days. But yeah, the good old days back in 1883 at that point. Yeah. But yeah, Grandmaster of Ceremonies has been the position for me, and I'm really glad that I was able to hold it. But any other questions as we are getting close to the end of our show? Anybody else? Can I play hockey? No, I would probably tear both my ACLs and my shoulders. You just have to put me in a body bag. But with the answer being no there in terms of other questions, I do want to just express my appreciation to all 3 of you for coming on the show today. Obviously, through the difficulties, we didn't give up, and we were able to put out a pretty good episode. So thank you, Chris, thank you, Gavin, and thank you, Josh, for coming on. Who knows, maybe I could be looking at my successors right here in terms of the show, as Rainey and I have been rapidly, we've been talking about wanting to pass the show on. So, that's definitely something. And that message goes out to anyone in the community. We would really love for this show to continue. So, if you have any interest, please reach out. But if that's everything, again, thank you for listening to Greek Speak on WSYC 88.7 FM from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, and Shippensburg University. Until next week, we will see you all later.